My name is Niller Bjerregaard. We're here in Munich today with Volbeat on the Greatest of All Tours 2025. It's been a tour of 75 shows so far, and we've been at it for a few months now with a little bit breaks between each. Did a lot of pre-programming, visualizing, capture and camsys, which worked out really well. So the idea of this tour compared to the last tour we did is basically back to basics. That's what we called it. As you may remember, for you who saw the last segment we did, it was very video heavy and a lot of video effects and notch effects and stuff running over live cameras and stuff like that. A lot of content running. And as we prepared for this tour, we had a talk, me and Michael, with the band, and basically what is it we want to achieve on this tour. And we kind of decided that because of the album they just released, that it was time to go back to the roots, and this is basically what we are. We're out here doing a proper rock show, which we all did back in the 80s, 90s, all that stuff. And also the rig design this time around is basically an homage to the old school heavy metal rock look, the finger look, which has been used by many designers before me. But I'm very proud to present it one more time. Of course, with a new modern take on it, with some LED lights and stuff like that. But it is basically an old rig. Also, we do have a thrust with us like last time, but we do not have a circle pit. The band loves to go out into the audience and interact with them and be part of that whole thing. So it's very, very important for us, for all shows, that we have that, and we use it a lot. Highlight them out there, they do their solos. Michael talks to the audience out there, and when I watch him, I just see him so happy out there. He feels so connected with people. And yeah, it's super cool. As of course it's an old school rig, the lights are doing a lot of the lifting. We only carry iMac this time, so we have a live camera feeds that support the iMacs. So in the beginning, when the design process was getting on the way and I was looking at different options, I did a few designs, and together with Dennie, we kind of set on one design that was kind of the old school kind of look with the fingers and the thrust and all that, and we decided that was the way to go. And then we actually did a virtual run through with Michael, so we invited him to a Zoom meeting and we did a virtual walkthrough of the stage. Basically he was sitting on his computer, we were on our computers, and we did like a virtual run through of everything so you could see the rig. We had all the backdrops in there, we had all like a big look of lights. He could see where to go, how the backline looked. We had all the artwork lined up perfectly, and he had some comments of what he liked, what he didn't like, and then we corrected that, and here we are. All the lights are kind of lined up like in the old days where you have like finger looks. So all lights are set in 3 pieces next to each other, so you can do kind of fingers, and that is the spots and the washes. And on the spot sides, I have Ayrton. We went with Ayrton this time. I've always been a big fan of the lights. Very bright, fantastic, a lot of gobos, a lot of effects. So I went with the Rivali for my main spot. It's a good light. It's been very durable. We haven't had much problems with those. And then I have the Argo 6 FX as my wash lights. I did try different things with that light, and I mean, as a wash light, it's really good. It's powerful if you use it as a normal wash light, but some people might have seen they have this liquid mesh in front of it, and I tried to do some looks with that, but because the rig is big, powerful, and it's also high flown, I didn't get much out of that. I think it's probably more for TV and, you know, when you want to up close like club tours and stuff where you can use that effect. So I kind of went away from that again. On the effects side, my trusted JDCs are always here. This time around, I'm also using the Colorado from CHAUVET COLORADO Curves, which is amazing. It's an amazing light. So much fun. You can do some cool stuff, especially if you have a long row of them. You can do like finger looks. We'll see a couple of images of those. I'm very, very happy with those. And you can also use them as blinders, as I do, and also just in general, big looks. They do it all. So fantastic. Also using the smaller version of it for Colorado PXL 16, which I basically just have on my set to kind of outline the set on stage. Then I have a shit ton, sorry my language. I have a lot of the pixel lines. This is probably my biggest effect on this tour, is the pixel lines kind of align all the trusses on stage. Everything is outlined with the pixel lines. There's 201 of them. And actually, I forgot to mention that the total fixtures we are running out here is over 600. So it's a big rig, a lot of universes, a lot of stuff going on. And sometimes you have to draw, pull back, because you tend to just go on and on, like, argh. It gets bigger and bigger. And so you sometimes have to keep it cool and just let some looks be more simple and speak for itself. We do have the ROX blinders, the LED ROX blinders out here. I'm a big fan of those also. I love to color the crowd. Back in the day, I just, of course, used normal blinders, and it was a nice kind of a look on the audience. But for this one, you can color them, interact, you can strobe them. And I found it's a really, really good way to keep people interacted. And also when you have those big moments, you kind of suck them into the whole universe and the story of it. And you kind of wash everything out, and people won't get bothered by it because it's not in your face per se. It's just like a big wash look, and it tends just to complement the full room and what it is you're trying to do with the lights. Use them a lot. Happy. One of the reasons why I picked the Colorado PXL Curve is because I saw it, somebody else using it. I was very intrigued of the possibilities to use it. I dove into it a little bit in the beginning, of course, when I was pre-programming. It's basically a row of lights in itself, and you can kind of move them individually. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with it. So I used them like in a traditional way, where you would kind of move them, all of them like in a wave kind of a thing, or you can use them individual, like fingers. But one thing that really struck me with them is that you can kind of do like a big ocean of lights. If you put them in the right places, it's kind of an amazing feature you get, because it's like a big wave basically. So you're basically washing like a big wave over the audience. I think when I look at it, it's kind of a almost psychedelic kind of a look. The way I put them is that I have them way in the front, some above, and then a little bit back, and then I got some upstage all the way back. And so you kind of get a 3D feeling, and I think when we sit on the sides or in the front, it doesn't matter, you'll get that kind of wavy thing. And I try not to use the same effect many times, because of course that gets dull. So I have some really big moments where I use the wave effect. All right, let me take you on stage like last time. So what we have here is, of course, the finger, oh, that's it. Danish, yes. All right, let me take you on stage like last time and show you what's up there. But I can tell you as we walk, you see the star formation rig, which is basically the feature. We have the pixel lines outlining all the trusses. We have what we call the chevron, which is overhanging the thrust, which is the big V up there. And we have some side lights. And on the sides, you can see our iMac. You can see the ROX blinders on. And if you look on stage, you can kind of see everything outlined by the pixel curves. The whole stage will come about as a thrust, of course. But the idea is basically to make it like if you look at the chevron, and the whole thing is basically pointing towards the audience. So that's the idea of it, that the band wants to go forward, not backwards. I'll take you on stage and we can kind of look at it in more detail. Follow me this way. As you see here, we have the end of the thrust, and this is where we have the pixel curves lined out all the way. We can do like big finger looks, waves, as I talked about earlier. And it also gives the audience a chance to be close to all the 3 mic stands that we have here. So, and Michael will be singing at all positions here. So no matter where you are in front of the thrust, you'll get a little bit of a Michael. And then of course it goes further in here, so you're even closer. So that's the whole idea also. When we designed it, is that you are close to the band. We have the mini risers on the side here, like it. So if you look up, we have the star formation rig, which is, like I told you earlier, it's basically an homage to the old school rock metal rigs. And this has been seen many times, so I'm not gonna take credit for it at all. It is basically a classic rig. So a bit of a detour we have to go here, and of course now we're at the boneyard, as we call it. All the stuff we just don't use here. We just put empties and all that. One thing I can show you behind the drapes here, our station for the follow spot system. And let me take you this way. And this is the pyramid riser setup that we have. We have decks, of course, with lights, and as you see, it's pretty crowded with fixtures on it. We have some Ego Jets, we have the Rivalis, of course, the wash lights, all the bars that we use, and then as I spoke about earlier also, so the tall riser also have the ability to push the drum kit through it. If you look through the deck here, then you would see the Mambas, and they are down there. And yeah, there's also a lot of other stuff going on, but you can see them down there. And they basically shoot up through these decks here. It basically looks like it's a tower building or you know, something like that. If there's a break, they shoot up through the stage, and it's another dimension from what you see normally with lights, where you have them in formations pushed forward towards the audience, where these are straight up. So it's another kind of a straight dimension. So you kind of get almost like you get sucked back on stage. So when they turn on with everything off, it's like you get pushed forward towards the band, like oops, like that with the lights. And here you can really see, if you look up for the star formation, you can really see the pixel lines as they cover all the bottom of the trusses. It looks super cool. So everything is made in the group grid on the desk, and that's how I can run chases across everything and make it look like the light comes towards the audience. So you got very like some cool looks where it's like, oh, you know. And yeah, so we can see here, I use these, the Argos as well as lights for all the drops, but I can also swing them the other way. So it's kind of a dual function. So I use those, but of course you can't see them because we have the backline here. And on purpose, we kind of, instead of having tall rises for all the backline, we made it very low, so visible. Everything is like open. And I like that look. It's, again, an homage to the old rock and roll look. And of course, then we have the thrust, our beloved thrust, which we go on. And like you see in the decks, I'm sure Dennie will talk about this a little bit later on, but all the monitors are underneath there. That's also, we don't have anything on stage. As an audience perspective, it's very clean, very neat. And I think it's a super look. It's been a tremendous pleasure to share my thoughts and also the visions that we did with, of course, Michael, but also with Dennie Miller, who's the production manager on this. And he's been a tremendous help pushing the design forward and also battling with budgets and all that. He's a fantastic colleague, friend, and amazing sound guy.
My name's Dennie Miller. I'm the front of house engineer, production manager, and problem solver. We're 10 years in now for me, maybe just a little bit more now. I've almost lost count. If you would have told me 10 years ago that I would still be here today, I might not believe you, but we've got a really good team here. It's been a fun year so far on tour. We're starting to wind down. I think the first thing to keep in mind is that my job is really one of facilitation and communication. None of this is my brainchild. This is all Niller and Michael, our singer, and the rest of the band extended, coming up with the ideas about what we're going to do on any given year, and the tour design this year is no exception to that. It has absolutely been from the band that they wanted to sort of go back to their roots. It's a lot more about rock and roll. It's a lot more about just focusing on the music. So you see that we've stripped back a lot of the video production. It took a little convincing to let us have IMAGs even. But aside from that, you're going to see a hard set, fascia, lots of lights. The big sound system that Volbeat has become so well known for. It's almost become a set piece years down the road. Tons of soft goods, kabuki drops, some special effects in cryo format. But other than that, this is really focused on the music, and that's been the mandate from the band. It's been a nice change, and I gotta say, while in the beginning I don't always fully understand the vision that the designers put together for any given tour, not just this one, I see and I appreciate this one, and I think the fans have too. All things told, this production fits inside of 18 trucks. It's 20 in total if you count a truck for the support bands and a truck for merchandise. We're 9 buses, all things told, across all the support bands and our crew and artists, which is, it's not the largest production, but it's not a small one either. It's been a lot of fun to get to put this together with Niller, of course, and our wider extended team. The sound of the band has certainly been an evolution from the time that I began here, working as a PA tech, working my way into systems engineer, and then mixing the band, and now production management. Just over the years, it's been an evolution. And through that, we've put a lot of effort and emphasis in studying what we did at any given time, because we go back and we do these same venues as the same routing again and again. And we try to learn from that. We try to do better the next time. So the sound system is no exception to that. The approach to the mixing is no exception to that. You'll remember from some of our first videos that we did together that it was a large Leo system, which of course is a much heavier box that was maybe a little less controlled, but it had such a power to it. And then over time, this has really morphed into not only the Volbeat experience, but just the wider concert experience of fans having higher expectations and expecting a more hi-fi sound. And while we, perhaps as an exception to what the norm has been, Volbeat and our crew, we've put a lot of emphasis in trying to make sure that we have the same show in every seat, that every concert goer gets the same experience. And Panther's been a great leap forward in being able to do that. Its horizontal directivity has been the big improvement, I think, from systems of the past. We can now meet the seams between mains, sides, relays, front fill systems even, much more cleanly and seamlessly than we were before. So there's really, as you walk around the arena, it's becoming more and more difficult to find a less than perfect seat from a sonic perspective. And then in addition to that, as soon as you have that coverage in mind, well, all of a sudden you're unhandcuffed from this sonic picture that you want to create. As you know, the fans here in Europe have come to know Volbeat as this sonic experience. It's got to be right, it's got to be visceral, it's got to be powerful, and it's got to be in your face, all while meeting the all too often 99 dB averaged over 30-minute criteria that is required in so many countries, not just Germany. So, trying to make sure that it's still powerful, still complies with the loudness restrictions, and that the person in the very last seat gets that same experience as the person standing in the front row. It's not easy, and it's no accident. And when you walk in and you see the PA system, you have to remember we're not using nowhere near what this system is capable of in terms of loudness. But this is what we need in order to make sure the person in the last seat gets the same kick drum as the person standing on the floor. And that's the challenge, and I'm proud to say that we meet it day in and day out. If you start to break the system down into bite-sized pieces, the first thing you're going to get is a main and side hang consisting of 22 Panther boxes each. Of course, Panther weighing only 150 good American pounds per box. This is a leap forward over Leo, so this is going to enable the next part of this, which is that we can have this big subwoofer array, right? We're no longer putting these great loads in the roof like we once were. Don't get me wrong, it's still heavy, but nothing like Leo was. That's 2100 LFCs, again, from Meyer Sound in the back there. So we've got three columns of 9 arranged in an end fire configuration. So some directionality is brought on here by this configuration. And then it's raked in the vertical direction so that what's happening is it's really not that much. In the context of what happens in the audience, it's about a 3-degree shift in the beam, which doesn't do a lot for the people in the audience as far as the coverage that we get there. But what it does is it really cleans up what's happening on stage. There's a lot of cancellation where the band is at on the deck. So this combines with the mains to give us a really nice picture out across the audience. And then if you start to look closer from, the very back sort of downstage left and right corners of the audience, you'll start to realize that we're also using a relay configuration, not a delay configuration. Obviously, the footage that has been shot here in Munich, this looks a little out of the ordinary because there's relay hangs that are actually in front of house. This is due to the very unique geometry of this venue. We've come to affectionately call it a Pringle. But it's actually really challenging to meet the coverage here, which is why those speakers end up in that position. But if you look closely, you'll see that the mains are actually pointed down, right? So in a traditional system, when you would have a delay system, the main hang would meet and combine with the delay. But in this case, we're actually pointing the mains down so that the mains stop and then the relays pick it up and carry from there. Which again, it helps, you have fewer arrival times in any given seat, you get a more cohesive sound. And then in addition to that, you've brought that sound closer to the audience. So your direct to reverberant ratio is improved. and the people in the back really start to feel like they're in the front row, which is really the idea. Again, the same show in every seat. You want it to be impactful and visceral, and you want to have the feeling of the pick scrolling across the guitar strings. You want to feel that in your chest. I'm sure that's going to sound great, but you want to feel it in your chest. It's really important.
My name is Sam Boone. I am the Audio Systems Engineer for Volbeat. So I took over the role as Audio Systems Engineer in 2022 on our Servant of the Mind tour, and I have been here since. So it's been a really lovely ride so far. We have the same vendor as we did in 2022 we have a partnership with Cool Group that do a lot of our Meyer Sound systems. So for Europe, both in 22 and now here in 25, we have a Meyer Sound Panther rig. So they have been really, really lovely, giving us a lot of support. This rig is very, very similar to our 2022 rig. So we still have Panther, combination of L and W, but we no longer have a center fill because, as you can see, our thrust configuration has changed, our show design has changed. So because of that, we have front fills under our ego risers as opposed to having anything hanging from the ceiling. We still have our main and side arrays. We've added a Leopard 270 hang as well, so that kind of, my little guy sneaks around the corner. And we have a relay system as we usually have. This is entirely Panther Ws this time as opposed to a combination of Ls. Our side hang also features 4 Panther Ls as the top 4 boxes, or Ws is the top 4 boxes, and the rest of the hang is Panther Ls. Our goal with the sound on this tour, as Dennie said, is just fidelity and clarity, and part of my job is just extreme consistency, right? As close to as measurable perfection as possible. So we're trying really hard to get the same show in every seat. Incredibly low variant systems. We're looking at doing this with line length. We spend a lot of time in prediction software looking at mechanical optimization, and a lot of time really just putting a lot of emphasis on designing good PAs and good systems for the rooms we're in, and then making sure day to day we are absolutely deploying it and making any changes we need to really ensure that this show is enjoyed by the crowd for every single person in every single seat. It definitely has a lot of power, and we are certainly not using its max SPL to its full potential at the show. Because part of what we do, as Dennie was saying, is we break the coverage up into sections in the room and try to give each hang its own custody, so that way we kind of weave everything together to make sure we have consistency. But it's an incredibly powerful product. It's a very, very honest product. So a lot of times you can find that PA systems will color the sound of a mix and things like that. And we say with Panther using it that it is a blank slate, really. Like, you get out of it what you put into it, and so it doesn't do anything for you, right? So any changes we're doing manually. The prediction software, we're looking at everything manually, but because of that, it's incredibly powerful because you know exactly what it's doing, and that means you can tell it to do exactly what you want it to do. And so it's really nice to have a very representative product where you go, okay, like, this is what it sounds like in the near fields. Let's see if we can make these really big near fields. You know, and so you really want that high fidelity, in your face kind of experience, and that's why we're using this product, is it's a great fit for this show. I mean, I think at some point it's still a rock show for them, you know, and so I don't think anyone wants to feel like they're in a studio on stage, but it's really just the preference for the artist. In this case, we are careful that I don't blow anyone away, right? You don't want to make it absolutely unbearable. So we are doing things to make the system more directional, which is kind of the purpose of the Endfire. It's also the purpose of the stagger, right? That 3-degree up tilt is created by having, right, my first subwoofer hang that's downstage is now higher than the second and third. That's really what keeps me from just like absolutely murdering our poor drummer. But, you know, at some point it's still a rock show. They still have some energy on stage because you want to feel that, you know, it's a live show.
So one of the things that's fantastic about Volbeat, and I always enjoyed, is that we're doing everything live here. We have to be on our toes because they change set lists, they change songs they want to play. We do not do time code here. We are basically running each song as a cue list, but of course with variations, and I can put effects and I can put other looks on top of that, and that's how it is made. But the reason why I do cue list still is, and not busking the thing, is that we have 600 fixtures here, which is a challenge if you had to buzz that. But people often ask me about Camsys and why I use Camsys. And well, I came from Avolite and Hog back in the day. It was an easy choice for me. I've owned a lot of desks over the years. The softwares have evolved over the years. As LDs use their own instrument, they're very much into that product. So of course I get sometimes a little bit flack from maybe MA users of, oh, well, you're on a Camsys and you're on this and that and blah, blah, blah. We all know in the end of the day, it's what you feel comfortable on. as a desk, and I feel comfortable on a Kansas. For this run especially, they came out with a new version, software version recently, which I totally adapted to this show, which is basically group grids. So you place your lights in grids, and then you run effects on top of it. I'm looking at effects in a completely different ways than I've done before, and it's 3D. It's up, down, to the sides. It opened out a lot of things which have been really fun to explore. And then of course they have their group cues, which basically makes it a lot easy to clone from one fixture to the other, and it picks up all the effects, it picks up all the stuff that you did. It just replaces it with a new light. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy.
I switched from SD7 when Quantum 7 had really just released. We never made that jump here on Volbeat. And I switched to S6L, an Avid console. And there were a lot of things we were doing at the time that made that a better solution. One of the things that Avid was doing really well at the time, still does, is their integration with Pro Tools. But we were also doing a lot more post-production at the time of our shows. But at least the tool set has changed now in the land of Digicode to really make this a lot more possible. I'm talking about dropping markers to tag songs, just the integration of being able to plug in a single cat cable and away you go with 128 channels of record. Like, Avid has a lot going for them in that area, but now also so does Digicode. We're able to drop those markers, we're able to do that organization of my session. Of course, I'm using Reaper, but that's fine for capture. So that's been part of the catalyst to bring me back to Digico. But wow, has the Quantum 8 been a quantum leap? I think that would be the Digico terminology, that if I could use a buzzword, that's probably what they would want me to use. Another thing that happened in that time, you know, I mentioned we never switched to Quantum 7. It was just the mustard channel strip. I know that sounds like such a, why are we talking about the EQs on the channel strip? But it really is. It's a great leap forward. And I was really surprised when it was back in February that our friends at Digico loaned me one of these consoles. I had it set up at my house. And I was really presented with this decision of like, well, you know, I've got the show files from when we were on SD7, and I could convert this and just go on as we were before. But, you know, I knew in my head, I was like, you know, there's a lot of new tools that I would be ignoring if I did that. I've got the time, so let's start from scratch. So I did. And I really just started by putting, you know, the core band inputs into the desk and just saying, I'm going to take a crack at this. And I flipped every channel strip to mustard right off the bat. And I was really impressed with not only the tools that were there that I didn't have before. Previously, I think of the SD channel strip as more of a corrective tool, corrective compression especially. Versus on mustard, I mean, there's fantastic creative compressors on there for those applications. MSE, the mustard source expander, I mean, I had Waves PSEs all over this show that are now just built into the desk, which is outstanding. And I'm doing a lot less work, a lot less processing. There's a lot less outboard effects than there used to be. A lot more stuff is happening on the desk, which is really exciting. That's been a great improvement. And then also, like, just to talk about the screens for a second, we were out doing, in the US, we were doing amphitheaters, and you know, on occasion you find one that doesn't have a roof. So you may remember the people would make shades to cover their SD7 or SD10 or SD series console screen so that you could see it in the glare of the sunlight. And it hit me like a ton of bricks one day that I didn't have to do that anymore. And that was really exciting. But no, Quantum 8 been a great leap forward. I'm loving this desk. It's actually been really stable and we've been really pleased with it.
I think it's a really wonderful opportunity to work with people that are not only really great at what they do, but understand that what we do affects everyone around us, right? So Niller designs these beautiful, stunning rigs that allow me room, right, to put the PA where I'm not his way and he's not my way, and you get this wonderful visual and this really powerful visual that's created. It's a really wonderful experience to get to work with people that not only are really, really great at what they do, but also enjoy coming to work, enjoy spending time with each other, and are almost always open to having really good conversations, whether it's problem solving or even just saying, hi, how's your day? You know, there's not a person on our crew that isn't willing to go, yeah, I'm going to catering, let me grab you something. Everyone's just so kind. And I think that's the thing that stands out to me with this tour.